bring cybersecurity as a practice from day one. Even if you're taking the digital transformation route, business priorities could be very different for each industry verticals, but I think the investment has to happen on day one.
Day one.
Better be prepared and not to be sorry, because it puts your reputation down. 2-3 times you are in an attack, then you are lost in the business.
Hello everyone, welcome to KaKaComputer in the field. And today we have a special guest. We are with our executive from ManageEngine. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me an opportunity. My name is Arun Kumar. I'm the Regional Director for ManageEngine, which is part of Zoho Corporation, which is the company name. So I take care of the business operations for Asia, ANZ, and Europe markets.
Right. So, of course, Zoho is a popular brand, but Zoho CRM, Zoho Suite. Could you give more information about ManageEngine itself?
Yep. So ManageEngine, this is our 24th year of existence. So ManageEngine, in fact, precedes Zoho.
Oh, okay.
But the company name is Zoho Corporation, hence Zoho is quite popular.
Yes.
So ManageEngine offers close to 55 plus products for any enterprise to manage their complete end-to-end IT management. So when I talk about IT management, it could be IT teams offering IT as a service to their employees in terms of devices, accesses, applications. We also do complete end-to-end endpoint management, security for your end computing devices. Then comes about IT infrastructure monitoring from an availability and performance standpoint. How do you manage your networks, servers, applications, databases, devices? Then we also have a huge set of products on IT security, which includes identity and access management, log and SCEM management, privilege access management. So all these products put together for a digital enterprise, we ensure they take care of their monitoring, management, and security from a holistic standpoint. That's what ManageEngine offers today.
Right, great. No? So as you mentioned, security or cybersecurity is your hero application or hero product for ManageEngine. No? What can you say about the growing cybersecurity threat, especially now, the latest landscape?
So I would say while cybersecurity remains as a challenge, not recent, it's been there for almost last 20 years.
Has it been escalating?
Correct.
Yes.
So one of the main reasons why we see more cybersecurity issues in the last few years is because, one, a lot of companies took this digital transformation route. I would call it as in an unplanned manner.
So there's a lot of attack space now because
correct.
of that
digitalization. Exactly. Because of pandemic, everybody switched on to cloud. Everybody moved to remote workforce model.
Right.
These were all not planned earlier. Has to happen for business continuity. That means your data, which was there within 4 walls earlier, is now spread across. You have some data within your office, and many of the applications hosted on cloud, multi-cloud, and mobile-first approach. Your remote workforce sitting in different locations, and many companies also adopt gig economy model, which means you have a lot of third-party workers who are also part of your business today. So your data is spread across, and now they have to have the access to support your business.
Correct.
So now, which means the attack surface is much bigger today.
So the attack surface has grown because of this.
Correct.
Multiple, like you said, third-party integrations and gig employees. How about the attackers themselves? Do we see an increase in script kiddies in that area? How is it easy now to grab hold of attack?
Okay, let's look at this way. While whatever I spoke earlier was one of the reasons why you see a lot of cyber attacks happening, still there are challenges which remain in terms of consuming this technology by employees or the workforce or
Right.
the humans, which still remains the biggest weakest link
The weakest
from
link.
a cyber attack standpoint, because as humans you tend to make error. You still keep very weak passwords, you still store data which you are not supposed to store data into your laptops and other machines. You kind of like break the chain on these workflow processes. That is one reason the current system in itself has a lot of challenge in terms of cyber attacks. Secondly, now we talk about adoption of latest trends and technologies like AI, which is very easy for attackers to do an attack. In the sense, you don't need to have a very good technical knowledge. You can use a lot of this AI tools to generate malicious code,
Right.
which doesn't need any technical knowledge or the know-how. All you can do is use these language models, generate the code, and then you can go and do an attack as easy as possible. Or you can even take malicious programs or ransomware as service by paying a very minimal amount.
Right.
When this kind of options are available, anybody can do an attack, including me and you.
Right.
And one step ahead, we talk about deep fakes, social engineering attacks using AI models, which means creating contents which looks exactly the same. It's very easy. So doing phishing attacks or ransomware attacks or AI based malicious programmed attacks are all very common without too much of technical knowledge. Is also one of the challenges a lot of enterprises faces today.
Right. Speaking about deep fakes, generating easy access attacks, right? These seem to be all targeted towards, as you mentioned, people or what we call social engineering, right? What are the common social engineering attacks that you see that still people are unaware or perhaps need more training among the organization?
The easiest gateway is always phishing emails.
Phishing emails.
Yep, right. Looks very original.
So spam blockers are not enough at the moment.
Spam blockers are one way, but with a very good content, right, there is always an option you can evade and still get into the system. That is where you need a lot of training program and awareness for employees and the workforce. They should be able to identify whether it is a phishing email or not, which sometimes companies fail to create that awareness program. Is one model. Talk about social engineering attacks. There are a lot of use cases. For example, if you look at from a B2B enterprise standpoint, platforms like LinkedIn has all the official data for you.
Yes.
Who's your colleague, who's your boss, who's the CEO, the org structure is very much there. And taking content from there and using AI models, you can do a very personalized targeted attack, which might evade the best of the systems in the world today. So one way to do this is equally invest in the right AI and technology tools which are up to date in terms of enhancements, and more training and awareness program, which is a continuous process, is very much required today.
Right. Before we move to investing and budgeting, do you also see an emergence of deep voice calls? Right now, it's email attacks might be less, or at least because there's no human element, the composition, there are ways to spot it. But with voice calls, right, sometimes it's easier to fake in that sense. Do you also see that attack happening?
You can always expect that, because cybersecurity is always about being how well you are prepared for.
Right.
You have to expect that you are always in an attack. Deep voice fake is always a challenge. Again, more awareness and training program is very much required, and one should be educated what information and what information not to share to over phone, right? So your passwords, your OTP or PII information, which we call as personal information, should not be shared at any cost, right?
Correct.
There is always a process which enterprise needs to follow. You can always have a discussion over a phone on the business process, that's different, but sharing data on the phone or over a online thing is definitely not doable. So you should not share certain information which your team should be aware of. As long as if you have a very good process in place, from cyber awareness standpoint, I think we'll be able to handle this.
ManageEngine, a Zoho company, is a leading provider of enterprise IT management solutions, recently hosted an exclusive media lunch to discuss the future of cybersecurity in the Philippines and emerging trends shaping the country's IT landscape. Thank you, Hannah from Priority Consultants, for the invite.
Now, I've talked to a lot of CTOs and CISOs as well, and one of the challenges that they have is actually budgeting, or finding the appropriate amount in terms of perhaps percentage of their revenue that should be allocated with cybersecurity, because they think its approach is like insurance in that sense, which is another thing that we can talk about. But is there a recommended percentage that a company should potentially start with? Let's just start with, depending on their size of their business or the risk of their business.
It's not about the size of the business. It's about how mature their current system is with cybersecurity. Because investment in cybersecurity is not a one-time activity. It's an ongoing process.
Yes.
You need to keep a watch on the latest trends, and also periodically look at what are your current gaps in the systems are, do regular audits, and ensure those are arrested then and there.
Right.
And it's not only investing in tools and technologies, it's all about training your team equally, and also investing in cybersecurity experts into your team. It has to come as a separate practice today. As a company, if you are taking the digital route, if you are going online, it's not about the cost, because if you are attacked once, you are technically out.
Yes.
So,
but beside that, I mean, it has a cost, and like I said, it's a recurring cost. What would be a good starting point percentage-wise of their revenue? Because they cannot go is it like 30% of the company's revenue should be, budgeted on a year basis, perhaps?
I wouldn't say that way, to be honest. I would rather suggest, I think companies should look at cyber first digital transformation approach would be the right model to be looked at. Bring cybersecurity as a practice from day one. Even if you're taking the digital transformation route, business priorities could be very different for each industry verticals, but I think the investment has to happen on day one. Better be prepared and not to be sorry, because it puts your reputation down. 2-3 times you are in an attack, then you are lost in the business. So the cost what you invest today for investing in cybersecurity could be very minimal than your entire business operations goes for a loss.
Right. So speaking about risk, we also have a concept about cyber attack insurance as well. Is this something that you would recommend? Is this something you even offer currently?
No, as a company, we are a technology software provider company. So we build products for enterprises to manage their IT infrastructure, cyber security, all of that. We don't actually offer that as a service in terms of insurance. On insurance part, it depends upon what industry vertical you are. If you are on an industry vertical where you are on a clause or on a terms with some service provider or customer or third party enterprise, where if you are bound to pay a penalty if you are on an attack, it's better you take on an insurance. It might not be for everybody, depends upon which business you are into.
Some people consider attacks to be random, and sometimes there are really random attacks, scanning the ports throughout the company. But are there seasonal spikes? Are there patterns like this? Like, for example, maybe change in CEO. Do you see an increase in attacks during that period, or new hires? Is there a season, or is it really random?
I would say it depends upon which business you are into. Usually, if you are in e-commerce, there is a pattern to it. So we have the peak periods are always the higher risk period, because that is where your actual business goes up, right? Like the Black Day or Thanksgiving Day, or like the Great Festival of the e-commerce, which announces a lot of offers. Usually there is a peak, and the holiday season for tourism is also one example I can give. But if you have a huge customer base, and if you are kind of like company or a product which are business critical, could be healthcare or could be government or even could be education systems. If you are an online, you can fairly assume that it is not going to be random.
Right.
It's going to be a regular affair you have to deal with.
And it will be targeted to that
Absolutely,
company.
yes.
Absolutely. Okay. How about the future of cybersecurity? We did mention AI as part of an attack generating. What is the future for cybersecurity in terms of protection?
So let's look at one from an AI perspective, another one from a general perspective.
Sure.
If you look at the future of cybersecurity, a lot of enterprises, particularly on automobile and manufacturing, are also taking the route of implementing the IoT applications.
Yes, now everything's connected
Correct.
to
Everything
the
is
network.
connected. Yes.
Yes.
Earlier it was only the IT department, but
Correct.
now non-IT functions are also getting into. IoT poses a big challenge.
Our microwaves, our TVs, and also now even our ref. Yeah.
Cell towers, ATM machines,
Correct.
smart cities, or even industrial devices, right? Those are also transferring intelligence
Yes.
into your applications, right?
Correct.
So that's also a vulnerable spot, because all along enterprises were focusing on IT cybersecurity, but IoT is equally picking up momentum.
Yes.
This is one trend which we see today. Of course, AI has helped a lot in the past for automating a lot of IT work, kind of like little bit predict and also kind of like proactively manage certain things.
Anomaly detection.
Yes, anomaly detection, capacity planning, predictive monitoring,
Yes.
adaptive thresholds are certain areas which AI has been used. But given that you are talking about generative AI, you are talking about the future trends.
Right.
I think what enterprises have to do is read through a lot of data sets they have using AI models and proactively find out anomalies even before an attack is planned. Right? You should build a very good correlation. You should build very good anomalies, and you should also build a lot of capabilities on automating a lot of these functions, so that even before an attack happens, you'll be able to predict using a large volume of data sets. This one way, because let's also look at the same AI can be also used by attackers.
Yes.
Right? So they will use phishing techniques, they will use deepfake techniques, they will use a lot of automations to attack in a targeted fashion. Right? So these are all some possibilities which AI can fall into the hands of cyber criminals. So how well you are able to prepare by being very proactive in terms of able to identify these anomalies is very important for enterprises to ensure they are equally ready for the future trends too.
Right. And so as we end, how is ManageEngine specifically able to protect us now as well as the future?
Great question. So today we implement a lot of machine learning and AI model as part of our products.
Are you using your own foundational models here, or are you using public foundational models?
What we are doing today is we have been implementing AI for almost last 10 years, which are all available as part of the product capabilities.
Right.
But again, these are all AI, not generative AI.
Okay.
What we are getting into today is build our own language model. We call it as narrow and medium language models.
Right.
Because for us, data privacy is important. We are very clear we won't use customers' data, or we won't sell customers' data.
Right.
So what we are trying to do is learn a lot of language models using our own data sets, which are very specific to ManageEngine Zoho suite of products. These narrow models will be very targeted, very contextual. So which means what specific needs to be done from an IT management standpoint, cyber security standpoint, we will build those models which will be part of our product capabilities which customers can use. This is our short to long term goal. But in between, we also integrate with a lot of third party AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini or Llama or Anthropic. Customers can bring their own key, integrate with our products by applying into their language model, or we are also building AI as a platform. They can use our platform to integrate with these service providers and incorporate into ManageEngine suite of products by reading through the datasets.
Right. So to end on a fun note, though, do you see with cyber attack? Do you see cyber attack from a pure AI standpoint? Do we see a future where Skynet takes over?
So in technology, I would say never say no to anything.
Never say no.
What we saw in movies 20 years before are real today. So if this is happening, the only way is you should be prepared.
You should be prepared.
Don't assume that it won't happen.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, audience.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.